seat, please. Okay, so we're taking care of.
Good morning. I'm Jen Davidson. A few words by way of introduction. When the family began to plan the funeral for our friend Lily, they weren't sure Pastor AJ would be in town, and so Jean, who's the administrator here, wonderful human being, called me. It's been about 2.5 months ago. And I remember I was in South Lincoln in my car waiting for an appointment. And Jean, who I've done some funerals for AJ here before, said, "Jen, are you free on September 5th? We need someone to help with the funeral." So I got out my phone, and I looked at September 5th, and I said, "Sure, Jean, I can help." And then she said, "It's for a longtime church member named Lily Hands." And just like right now, my heart stopped because Lily was my friend. And I knew Lily had passed, but beyond that, I didn't know beyond that what was going to happen in the way of arrangements. Lily lived at the lodge, the Grand Lodge. Some of you are here from the lodge as well. I live at the Grand Lodge. We moved in there at almost the same time, and we got to be friends. And she told me I'd love to go to her apartment and see the beautiful artwork and hear about the grandfather who was in the Dutch Navy and all these wonderful things. But the best part of my friendship with Lily is that we were liver buddies. Now, what the... Yeah, some of you know, this is Nebraska. I didn't grow up here, but what I know is when you live in a retirement community in Nebraska, about every 6 weeks, one of the choices for the entree on the menu is, I just love the expressions on the faces right now. Lily would love it, because this is what she and I talked about. There were certain people who always knew that on liver night, Lily and I would sit together, and some people wanted to come sit with us, and other people avoided us. So thank you for laughing. When we started Edelweiss, Bill, that's when I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be harder than I expected. So Lily was my friend, as she was to so many of you, and this is a real, real honor for me to be helping to officiate today. So as is the tradition, we will light the chalice. The family had several choices of things to read for the lighting of the chalice, and they picked the one that says, "If we are lucky, we will all get a chance during our life to know someone who becomes for us an example of living. And if we're really lucky, we will recognize how they ended up passing on some of their goodness to us, if we're lucky. But one thing is certain, no one, not one of us entering this world can escape the cost of living. The price we pay is this: to live in this world, we must accept that someday we're going to die. To love what is alive, we must accept having to lose what we've made precious through our care. To be fully and fiercely human, we must accept having to be breakable and sometimes broken. When we stop to notice how their life gave us a path and a little light to see by, it helps encourage us to help carry on that light forward. Though each of us carries forth in this world a small flame, we know that the ability of that light to brighten the world depends upon the many others who learn to walk with it in their hearts. We light this chalice today to honor the life and the living of a truly bright light. Lily Hands. And we turn now to the tributes, and we'll begin with Bryce.
Hi. Dear friends and family, today we gather to celebrate the life of my mother, Lily Grieve Hans. Our hearts are heavy with grief, yet filled with the gratitude for the love, warmth, and wisdom she shared so freely with all of us. Mom wasn't just a mother, a friend, or a grandmother. She was a radiant soul whose strength, kindness touched everyone who knew her. I'd like to read from an autobiography that she prepared in 1997 when she and Dad were considering moving to Northern California and to a retirement community. kind of summarizes her life as an autobiography would. My name is Lily Marion Grieve Hans. I was born in Marseille, France, where my father was working for a Dutch shipping company. My mother died when I was 2 of complications after an appendectomy. I went to live with my grandmother and aunt in Holland, and my father went to New York to represent the company at the World Trade Fair. He could see World War II looming and remained at the company's New York office, then sent for me and my aunt. In December 1942, he married Dorothy Dymel. We lived in Bronxville, New York, close to my mother's family, where there in 1945, my sister Diana was born. In 1946, my father was transferred to the San Francisco office, and he lived in San Mateo, again close to other of my mother's relatives. I graduated from San Mateo High in 1955 and went to UC Berkeley, where I graduated in 1959 with a bachelor's degree in labor and industrial relations. I went to work for the Crocker Anglo Bank, and shortly after graduation, in 1961, at a bank-sponsored meeting, I met my husband-to-be, Robert Hans. He was working for Pacific National Bank and working on his master's degree. Bob moved back to Lincoln, his hometown, where a very promising job at the National Bank of Commerce was offered to him. But love would not be denied, and we were married in July of 1962 and spent our honeymoon traveling back to Nebraska to begin our life together. We have called Lincoln home ever since. We raised 2 children, a son, Bryce, our favorite, and daughter, Monica, and saw them through, and I'm serious, she wrote that, and saw them through the usual school events and activities. Both graduated from high school and from the University of Nebraska. While the children were young, I was a stay-at-home mom doing the usual volunteering with Scouts, PTA, Church Symphony Guild, and other community organizations. As they grew, I became involved in Nebraska Educational Television Network as a tour guide, and with their fundraising auction, coordinating more than the 1,200 volunteers it took for a single shift, of which there were 23 shifts during the 10-day auction period. Say that 3 times fast. After 12 years, I decided to try something different and became a coordinator for the senior companion program called Project Help, Homebound Elders Linked with Peers, which I still coordinate today. In '93, I became the assistant director of the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP, which recruits people over 55 and places them with agencies and organizations that need volunteers. In 1996, I became the director and remain that today. I was fortunate to have reason to travel to Europe in 1946, shortly after the war, to visit my Dutch relatives, and was profoundly moved by the devastation. We returned in 1950 and saw a much rebuilt country. In 1953, I spent summer traveling to Europe with a group of fellow UC students, and after Bob and I were married, we toured Europe in 65, 69, 73, and 77, visiting family and friends, leaving our children in the good care of Bob's parents. Our summers found us vacationing at my parents' home in Hillsborough, taking a house on the beach in Aptos, or climbing the mountains in Colorado, where Bob's parents had a cabin near Estes Park. Family is very important to me, but our children live in Long Beach and Tempe, Arizona, so we don't see much of them. I'm a people person with a positive attitude. I love the ocean and water. I enjoy swimming and golf, but haven't tried pedal tennis. I enjoy music, gardening, good food and wine, taking walks, and the smell of eucalyptus, especially on a foggy day. That was '97. So anyway, as Mom said, she was devoted to our family and keeping up with traditions, especially our vacations to Aptos Beach. Every other summer, she'd pack us up for those unforgettable trips to the California coast, where we would stay a day or two with our California grandparents, and then load up the cars and drive over the hill to stay for a week in a house right on the beach. A typical Aptos summer day, you would expect a cool, overcast morning with the sound of breaking waves. By 10 a.m., if we were lucky, the haze would lift and we would have a beautiful, breezy, sun-filled day. Aptos is just south of Santa Cruz and Sea Cliff State Beach, which is the home of the Cement Ship. The ship and its pier were a destination for many of our beach walks, where we collected sand dollars and small rocks that Dad would paint. Mind you, this really was a concrete ship ocean-going concrete ship. Just wanted to place that. So, I have fond memories of fishing on the pier with my grandpa Jan, and then taking Monica's middle son Jack, who must have caught a world record for the smallest flounder. Another one of Mom's favorite beach moments was watching the shearwater birds drive the smelt along the beach. This was not an everyday or even every visit occurrence, but rather a unique opportunity to experience nature. To frame the image, shearwaters are black birds that fly in giant flocks, black ribbon of birds hundreds of yards wide, skimming low just above the top of the water, driving giant schools of little fish to the shallow parts where they can dip down and scoop up the fish. One of my favorite memories was when they got so close to the shore, the little fish were caught up in the shore break and then would wash up on the beach. This memory is when we were very young, 10 or 12, and as expected, all of us kids were down at the waterline collecting fish in our sand buckets and demanding that they be cooked for dinner. Every evening, shearwaters or not, we would end the day with a roaring beach bonfire, roast marshmallows, make s'mores, and listen to stories that Mom and Diana would tell about their childhood. With all the cousins, half-cousin, aunts, uncles, young and old, it was always a large and well-attended event. As we say goodbye today, we plan to honor Mom's wishes by spreading her ashes in the ocean in front of the house at Aptos Beach, at the same GPS spot where the ashes of Dad, Grandpa Jan, and Grandma Dodie were placed, so the wave she loved will forever carry her spirit. Mom, thank you for your endless love, for the lessons you taught us, and for the light you brought into our lives. We miss you more than words can say, but we'll carry the memory of you with us always. As your ashes will soon join the ocean at Aptos, where you created so many cherished waves, we know you are at peace and will forever be part of the place that you loved. Until we meet again, rest in peace. Know you are loved beyond measure. Thank you all for being here.
family has chosen a reading from the beloved Irish poet John O'Donoghue, The Invisible Embrace. The dead are not distant or absent, they are alongside us. When we lose someone to death, we lose their physical image and presence. They slip out of visible form into invisible presence. This alteration of form is the reason we cannot see the dead. But because we cannot see them does not mean they are not there. Transfigured into eternal form, the dead cannot reverse the journey or even for 1 second re-enter their old form to linger with us for a while. Though they cannot reappear, they continue to be near us and part of the healing of grief, which is the refinement of our hearts, whereby we come to express their loving nearness. When we ourselves enter the eternal world and come to see our lives on earth in full view, we may be surprised at the immense assistance and support with which our departed loved ones have accompanied every moment of our lives. In their new transfigured presence, their compassion, understanding, and love take on a divine depth, enabling them to become secret angels, guiding and sheltering the unfolding of our destiny. Monica.
Hi, thank you all for coming, old friends. Thank you. Sorry, you guys took me by surprise there. My work people are here. So if you knew my mom, you very well might have known my dad. And, I can't even see. So my dad would write my mom poetry, but really bad poetry. Really bad poetry. So to honor that, I decided to write a poem for my mom. And I'm not going to say that it's good, so we're just going to go with that. So it is to honor her name, Lily. So L is for loving. She loved beyond measure. She gave her heart to her family every single day. Bryce and I were so incredibly blessed to have her as a mom. And my children were so spoiled having her as a grandmother. Her love wasn't just spoken, it was lived. It was every gesture, every sacrifice, all the sleepovers, all the things when we got to have our friends over. They got to eat her crepes. Have you ever had my mom's crepes? They were pretty awesome. I is for inspirational in the way she lived. She gave more than she took in everything she did. She showed us how to lead with compassion and how to preserve through challenges. Even when things didn't go our way, she was always there to pick my brother and I up and tell us to keep going. She was our greatest cheerleader. L is also for light. Everyone around her, she was a light. She didn't just brighten a room, she would transform it. With her laughter, it was contagious, it was big, and it was loud. And her words carried wisdom that guided us through our life. She had a way of making people feel seen and like you were the most important person in the room. I would also like to add that L could be for Lincoln because she really loved her community and gave her heart to it. Y is for yearning. She yearned to see the good in people and the beauty in life. She devoted herself to her community, giving freely to her time and her gifts through her countless hours at volunteering and her quiet acts of service. She lifted others with compassion, strength, and bonds of friendship. You are here because of her bonds of friendship. And she left a legacy of selflessness and love. She will continue to inspire us. I believe that Lincoln is also a better place because of her unyielding service. My mom's life was a beautiful example of what it means to live with love and generosity. She leaves behind more memories and lessons of kindness, perseverance, and seeing the best in people. Though our hearts are heavy today, we also carry with us deep gratitude for the time we had with her, the love she gave us, and the light she brought to our lives.
We now invite any of you who would like to come forward and speak about your friendship, to offer a brief tribute or a brief memory of Lily. I wonder if I have turned this off. I think maybe when I pushed it in the stand, I might have turned it off.
Let me bring a different one.
Okay, thank you. We're going to begin with Lois Dan. So Lois, while you make your way up, they're going to get us a microphone that I have not.
It's a good thing we have this on the stand because I talk with my hands. The microphone is up there and nobody can hear a thing.
Hang on a
Can you
minute,
hear me
Lois.
back there?
Maybe the battery died.
Is it okay?
I wonder if the battery died, but just let me check here. Nope, it was just turned off.
Oh, okay. Thank
Now
you.
you've got it.
Okay,
Let's see. Step up here.
okay. Give it up just a little bit. Okay.
I think you got it.
Thank you, Linda. I met Lily 60 years ago, or a little over 60 years ago in this church. We were among the original founders of the Moms Group. We hired babysitters, one for the infants and one for the toddlers. Mothers had wonderful treats, and we had great conversations. The time was, the mid 60s to the early 70s. So you can imagine there was lots of activism in politics at that time. And then when our children got to school, Bryce and my daughter are about the same age, and Monica and my son Mark just a little bit behind them, we, 6 of us, decided that we would like to continue meeting. So we met to celebrate birthdays and holidays in our homes for lunch. And that group continued. We got each other through weaning, toilet training, adolescence, marriages, and then repeated with our grandchildren, which in the later years, that's all we talked about were our wonderful grandkids. Lily had a very special way of turning things around and making something bad into something good. We were having dinner at the Hands one night, and I was being helpful in clearing the table and knocked a bottle or glass of red wine on their light-colored carpet. And we cleaned it the best we could, and it wasn't too great, but I called Lily the next day and offered, I said, we'll have your carpet cleaned. And she said, no. She said, this is the wonderful thing that ever happened. I've been wanting to get new carpeting for that area, and Bob's been dragging his feet. She said, thank you for that gift. But that was Lily. Lily lived well, she loved well. To know Lily was to be loved and to love Lily. And she lived in a good life, and we were good friends.
Would someone else like to share a memory or a remembrance? And maybe I had introduced Lois. Maybe identify yourself, please.
I'm John Henricks, and Lily and Bob were our neighbors, and Bryce and Monica, and for close to 3 decades with the Garwoods, we lived on a cul-de-sac. So I could go on for several hours talking about many, many things. Christmas Eves, where they always had a party where I could sneak out and hide my boys' presents under the tree while they were at the party, which is always good. But probably the biggest thing I remember, though, is you have been told, they got married in San Francisco. And there was one sunshiny day, I was out in the front yard, and Lily was standing in her front yard, and Bob came in his little blue Porsche convertible up the driveway, into their driveway, with the radio turned up really loud. I left my heart in San Francisco, and they were both singing it. So, right.
Someone else share a story or a remembrance, please.
It's hard times, no doubt about it. There were hard times for us all, but the hardest, of course, is seeing a dear friend leave this world and go to better places, we hope. But the six of us celebrated each other's birthdays because we were always planning birthdays for our kids and our husbands. So over the years, we remember to celebrate the birthdays of the six of us. And that was the most fun of all because we would meet in the park or in homes or just wherever, and we'd talk about our families and what they were doing and how they were progressing, or the grandchildren. So it was a very cohesive group, and if any of you ever belong to that kind of group, you know how wonderful it is to have friends like that, committed. Lois is here still. I mean, we're still out there, and happy to be here to help celebrate her joy and her family, and just to be here again with her in our spirits. Thank you.
Someone else, a story or a remembrance?
I'm Deb Peck, and I worked with Lily at Aging Partners. I worked with Lily at Aging Partners. And Lily worked with, one of the things I remember she worked with so much, and Lily just seemed larger than life to me. She was so full of life. And she could be just a little bit intimidating because she just had such a big personality. And it seemed like she and Bob were involved in absolutely everything. And they just loved doing things together. And I remember them being very involved in politics, and it seemed like they knew everyone in the community. But one thing I remembered she was so passionate about was the Triad program. And I remember her working a lot with the sheriff's office and people in the community to get that going. And one thing I remember she really just kept going on and on about, and really was so important at the time, was getting everyone to write their prescriptions down and put it on the refrigerator. So you guys probably remember that too. Everyone needed to write down their prescriptions and put it on the refrigerator. So if there was a 911 call, the fire department and the ambulance people knew to look on the refrigerator so they would know what prescriptions people were on, what drugs they were taking, so they would know how to treat the folks. And I think she really helped out a lot of people and probably saved a lot of lives by being so passionate about that and making sure it happened. So she really did a lot of good for the community. We really appreciated it.
Someone else, a story or a remembrance? Then we invite you to gather in the beautiful area outside the room here and have some refreshments and continue sharing the stories and the memories and the smiles as we think of Lily, our friend. Receive now the benediction. Friends, life is short, and there's precious little time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. So be quick to love, make haste to be kind, and let us go in peace. Amen.
Hi there. How are you? Good to see both of you. Hi, Kay.
I just looked like you were sitting back here. I didn't realize you were sitting.
The two troublemakers were
Oh,
together,
right.
right?
Yeah, that's right. We got trouble right here in River City. Very much good, Jen. I'm glad that you
Thank you. Do my thing, huh? Her estimates. Another one of my roles in life. We're lucky that she fills in. Well, not really. You know, once in a while. Every few months. Yes. Well, thank you. I'm glad you all were here. Yeah, I do. A pilgrim. She's like the bad penny. Those itinerant ministers. Oh, that act in the circle. You're a circle. You're a circle. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. My pastor, I'm not going to use this. She called me because I was raised Presbyterian. So you really are. Oh, I really am. No, I'm glad you told me that because you know, I used to say that. She is still going out to be Yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what, that was so interesting. I didn't know what it was. Okay, it's that time of like